This is the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent Podcast, hosted by me, Kelly Donahue-Piro. This show is for growing insurance agencies looking to maximize their biggest investment, their people. Listen to the top agency performance partners clients share their story on how they boosted their performance by executing a plan. Let's head to the show. Hey everybody, so this is Kelly Donahue-Piro here for your mashup. We've been talking all week about your interview strategy and why this is so critical. And so today we're going to kind of tie it all together with a nice bow in this mashup of all the steps you need to take to have a successful interview. The wrong hire is just so costly that we don't want you getting involved in that. In fact, that's what our new course, we got the discount until Monday, people. So if hiring is on your list of things that you're struggling with, please get this course. It's got the templates, workbook. It's got everything you need, offer letters, how to pay people commission. It's literally soup to nuts what you need to know. Remember, people are your biggest expense. And so what we need to be focused on is exactly that, how to find and attract the best talent. I'm so sick of agencies just throwing their hands up in the air and saying, oh, hiring's tough, so I'm just not going to do it. That is not the way to go. So take some time and go ahead and get these videos down pat. And if you like them, buy the course. It's half off until $131, and after that it goes up to $995. That's how valuable it is. So don't delay, don't dilly-dally. If you need to figure out how to hire, this is the course for you. But until then, let's go through our steps of interviewing. So we've got the first one, which is a phone and or Zoom video, which we're going to talk about. Next, the in-person interview. Then the final interview. Then if, depending on the role, a dinner interview with spouses. And then we're going to wrap it all up in a nice bow. So stay tuned and listen to the best strategies for interviewing once you have some candidates in the pipeline. All right, so many agencies get this wrong. They call people in for an interview, which is so labor intensive. And if the person's not a good fit, you end up sitting there with them just because you're too polite. Instead, we need to be starting with a phone interview. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they have to be able to communicate on the phone. If we're not getting a good vibe from them on the phone, abort mission. It could be a 10-minute endeavor as opposed to an hour long out of your life where you're just sitting there hoping to get off the phone. So we really believe in either phone or Zoom interview. Zoom's even better so that way you can see the person, you get a feeling for them. Are they good on video? All of the things that you know you need for a modern candidate. Listen to our 3-minute video on the first step, the phone or Zoom interview. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Donahue-Piro here, kicking off another week of 3-minute videos. And what we're talking about this week is how to interview someone. So say we've got candidates coming in, and remember, interviews are a lot like first dates. Everyone's on their best behavior, right? Everything seems glamorous. So we're going to walk you through 4 different interviews and what to look for. The first one's going to be, we recommend everybody do a phone interview because in insurance, we have to be able to speak on the phone. If we can't speak on the phone, we don't have much going for us. So what I want to share with everybody is some strategies. One, the phone interview should be booked for about a half hour. And if the phone interview is not going well, abandon ship. Your time is very valuable. The next step is it should be super clear who is doing what, who's calling who. That should not be left up to any unclarity. And the unfortunate part today is all too often phone interviews are attended to about half the time. So expect a blowout rate. Don't get frustrated by it. With the advent of online job searches, people are far more transient today than ever. You should take a few minutes beforehand to review the resume, review their application, and maybe just do a little digging into their social media. Just a little tip there. Then you're going to ask them a series of questions. In our brand new How to Hire guide, we actually go through the questions to ask, and as well as a scorecard so you can keep clear on everybody. So you'll get all that if you purchase our new online course. Then finally, we talk a little bit about what to do at the next steps. If a candidate's stellar, we should book them on the next phone interview right away. And we want to get them in as soon as possible. Understand that today's online hiring strategies mean that people are moving in a lot of different directions, and it's unfair to think that they're always going to just wait for you. So time is of the essence. If they're good, let's get them in as soon as humanly possible. The other thing that you want to test them for is how do they speak on the phone? So much of our job today is on the phone, and how they correspond via email, because growing a lot of our job is on email too. So this is a good evaluation. We say that you should put anybody that's favorable and questionable, right? You're not sure. Put them through the phone interview. Worth 10, 15 minutes. You might be surprised what you get. You don't want to cast too narrow of a net. You want to be able to cast a big one, knowing that you're going to spend 10, 15 minutes if it's not a good fit and move on. So that's our phone interview strategy tips. We hope that you take a look at the new course because it's a pain point for everybody. And let's be honest, no one's taught us how to hire, but let us handle that for you. We'll see you in the next video. All right, if we like that first phone interview, your next step is you got to move fast. Candidates don't wait anymore. Next is in person. Get them in and start asking them questions. A lot of agents just go ahead and start to look at their resume. That's not what you really want. You want to ask them some actual in-depth questions about the role and things that they're going to face, how they would handle it. So in this video, we break down some of our top set strategies for the in-person interview. I do want to tell you this though. It is important that you think about this course that we have because we actually have interview questions for each role in every single one. Stop winging it. Stop asking crappy questions. Instead, just get this course so that we can help you with hiring.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the mayor here, Heath Sheeran, and here for another 3-minute video. And today we're talking about the interview and particularly the in-person interview. And I want to go through some stuff with that real quick with you. Let's start with who should be in the room. This should be decision makers. And that, that could be someone, like the hiring manager or people who are going to be managing this person or working with this person. And if you would like to, have a team interview and invite some other people from the team in there, other account managers or other producers, people like that, invite them in there as well. And you can get their feedback, you can get their buy-in. It's a great strategy there as well. And then you can always dismiss them when it comes down to talking about the money or benefits or whatever that may be. From there, you'll want to, welcome the candidate and begin the interview process. You can explain the process to them, the expectations and, the role they're applying for. The questions will need to vary. However, you will want to focus specifically on the role they're applying for. For example, if they're applying for the role of the account manager, you might want to start with retention or cross-selling, something like that. How in the past, if you worked with retention, what do you see as your biggest or the biggest driver of retention? How do you handle calls about rate increases or rate hikes or things of that nature? You might want to just find out some of those things. If you're interviewing a producer, you might want to start with prospecting. I think that's a big part of producers, and you might want to ask them, how do you obtain your opportunities? Have you ever cold called? What's your success rate in those cold calls? How do you overcome objections in cold calls? Tell me a success story in either one of those roles, account manager, CSR type, or the producer. You want to make sure that you do that. I think that's going to be really crucial in the in-person interview. And you can read their body language in this, and you can see what we're thinking on that. I also think you also have to prepare the office. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to have the office clean, have the staff prepared to know that the candidate is coming. And, if you're going to have other people, as I mentioned earlier, in the room for like a group or a team interview, have them prepare 2 or 3 questions pertaining to the role and have them ready to ask those questions and be a part of the interview. And then, as the last part of this would be evaluating the interview. And you're going to make sure that you get the feedback from that team and let them, kind of tell you what they think about it, how they think the interview went, and make sure that, you discuss those pros and cons, weigh those things out. The goal is to have 2 or 3 candidates there. And so you want to make sure you weigh out those pros and cons. And the last thing I will tell you, just a little piece of advice, from APP to you, don't settle. Make sure that you hire someone not just to be the most technically sound person or, the funnest guy in the room. You want to make sure they're a cultural fit, but also a technical fit. You want to make sure that the team members can work with them. And, I guess the ultimate goal there is you only want to hire rock stars. The goal is to hire the best out there for your agency. So again, don't settle. I really hope that this interview has helped you. I really hope that this video has helped you in the in-person interview process. And I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly Donahue from APP, and I'm so excited because we're about to launch our new course, which is all on how to find and keep the best talent in your agency. Just like when I got really tired of hearing how busy everybody was in insurance, I'm currently in the same place with it's hard to find talent. And so we want to create a whole playbook for your agency on how to do this. This includes going over what does your agency need based on Reagan best practices. So we actually match up like how many people do you need? What kind of people do you need? We're looking at creative strategies from virtual assistants to remote workers to service centers. And we have really in-depth information for you so you can make an unbiased decision on if it's right for you. We have templates for job offers and job postings. We've got all the communication templates you could ever want so that way as you're going through the process, you know how to grade candidates. So literally, this is all plug and play, interview questions, the steps to a good process, where to go find candidates. We've come up with about 10 different areas that you can post to get jobs and find the best candidates. So if hiring is challenging, we want to give you the answer to it. Now, no secret, it is some work. But with this playbook that has videos, it has the communication templates, it has a tracker, it has your playbook that actually walks you through step by step of what you need to be doing, you have a greater chance of getting the right candidates. And we have a whole section on how to keep the right people. So you don't want to lose top people either. So if hiring is on your mind and it's a challenge, make sure you hop on this playbook and course that we have just for you. We're doing special discounts just as we launch this course. Make sure you take advantage of it. Any questions, let us know, but don't miss out. We'll see you in the course. The next interview is called the final interview. Hopefully you have 2 or 3 candidates. I know that might seem a luxury to you guys, but a lot of us are not creating great job ads. And that was some of the topics of the other videos and things we address in this course. The final interview should be team members asking very detailed questions, situational questions. And then it should go through the values and the mission and the job description in detail. There should be discussion on all of the things that might be tripping people up, like vacation time. Like, let's get into the brass tacks of everything. The start time. I can't tell you how many agencies get all tripped up. They don't tell someone the start time and then there's a childcare issue. This has to be in detail and in person because this is the final stop. You're asking someone, you want to give someone thousands of dollars every year. We shouldn't just wing this and hope for the best or say they have a license and they fog a mirror. Let's go for it. That's not what our agents are doing. They're going much deeper. So let's take a moment and take those next steps. Listen to the final interview. All right, so now we're at what we call the final interview, and there might be one more depending on the role that Chief will go through tomorrow. But this is really all about situational interviewing, and I think that this is a part we miss a lot. So these are questions that are very tailored to the role and responsibilities, which you can find if you purchase our course right in the workbook. But an example of this would be our current retention rate is 91%. We want to get it to 93%. What ideas would you have to try to increase retention? What has worked in the past for you? Somebody wants to call and cancel. What steps would you take? So this is really kind of getting into their thinking, how they approach things. If they say, I'd reshop them all. Well, you kind of know where their heart is. And you have to decide, are they teachable and coachable? Can we get them into a different spot? Or are they just ingrained in price and that's not how your agency operates? The final interview should have 2 to 3 team members in it because ultimately they're going to be part of the process. There should be an introduction time where everybody gets to know each other and then kind of dive in. The candidate should also be given time to ask questions of their coworkers. It's even fair if the agency principals step out for honesty purposes. Then we also want to excuse the team members and talk a little bit more about the job description and details. So this is when the candidate may have questions of vacation time, start time, things that might not be appropriate in front of their peers. So once you do all of that, our goal is to come out to the end and score them. And you have to be honest. We usually say, wait a day, simmer down, bring everybody back in, go through the good and the bad. And healthy debate is great. You know, you're potentially going to pay this person $50,000 a year, depending whatever their payroll is. That's a big investment. And it's also the right person elevates the team. The wrong person drags the team down. And so understand all points of the coin. You know, maybe they're 80% great, but 20% a little sticky. Maybe we've got 2 other candidates in the pipeline. Maybe we feel strongly we can coach them on some of these items. But the end of the line is you need to have a healthy debate. Doesn't mean that anybody should weigh in if they should or shouldn't hire them. Ultimately, that is the role of the agency owner. And if the agency owner would like to ask that question, that's fine. But all too often, sometimes people's feelings stand about like, well, I didn't want to hire her to begin with. That's not healthy either. You want to just go very clearly,
prepared agenda meeting. Here are the high points, here are the low points, and what we can do to get through them. So that final interview is a fun one. It's a professional one, and it goes pretty deep. We usually recommend about 90 minutes to get through that interview. So any questions whatsoever, shoot them our way, but take a look at our course, because we really believe that every agency needs to understand how to find top talent. And if you don't have a playbook, you're kind of winging it. We'll see you soon. Now, I know you might be thinking, Kelly, you said that was the final interview. Well, for some roles, such as a leadership role, management, producer, we actually recommend another interview, which is an interview at dinner, just a dinner meeting, spouses, to get to know the person a little bit more personally. I can tell you we've done this, and it's been a dead ringer almost every single time. My husband has a super secret spidey sense, as he likes to say, and you start to see how they interact personally. You know, a lot of things that go into the work life also impact personal life and vice versa. You want the spouse fully supportive of this career decision. And you also just want to get a general sense of who you're bringing on the team at this very high level. So consider the dinner interview. And that's what we're going to cover in this 3-minute video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the mayor here, Heath Sheeran. I'm excited to be with you on another 3-minute video. And today we're talking about the dinner interview. And I want to dive into this because this is an interview that, you know, the dinner style interview shouldn't necessarily be done for every role in the office, but for sure the key roles. And it's a good option for you if you're like in between two candidates. We feel like this is more done for the leadership and the producer roles. We strongly recommend the final interview once you narrow down your candidates. I think that it's important in this that you invite your managers and maybe invite team leads, things like that. Don't make it a big dinner, maybe 3 or 4 people. But I think it's very important in the dinner interview, whether it's lunch or dinner or breakfast, whatever it might be. Typically, it's done with dinners and lunches. Invite spouses, your spouse as the agency owner, as well as the candidate spouse. This is a great way for you to be able to check out a lot of things. With spouses there, you can pick up on any personal issues that can strain work relationships. You can also use this as an opportunity to get to know the spouse. And again, a lot of times allow your own spouse or significant other to weigh in and to let you know. A lot of times that spouse intuition is very crucial in this situation. Spouses of agency owners tend to have a pretty good read on candidates that can help you make that decision. The dinner interview gives you the opportunity to also build rapport with the candidate and get to know the candidate and, kind of see, you can evaluate their social skills, their manners, determine their good cultural fit. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure we hire someone that's not just a good tactical and technical fit, but also a good cultural fit. And you can find a lot of those things out over a meal, breaking bread with somebody. You can see a lot of those things come out. And you can also determine if they do make sense for your agency based upon how they treat the waiter and the wait staff, how they eat, what they do, how they treat their spouse, things like that. You want to look for those things. Now, the best way to evaluate a dinner interview is, when you get done with the interview the next morning, the next day, even later that evening, just kind of go through a checklist or, just some ideas in your head, write it down before you forget, and speak to team members the next day and say, hey, what'd you think about so-and-so? Did they make a good impression on you? Did they fit? What did you see? And let them point it out, good, bad, and ugly, because everybody's going to have all those things. So let them talk about all of those things with you, sit down, evaluate, and then go from there as far as that goes. But I do think this dinner interview, while we look at it as optional, I think it's a huge benefit to your agency. So I would highly encourage you to check that out, especially for producers and leadership roles. Thanks, guys. I hope this has helped you a lot. Can't wait to see you on the next one.